Good evening. We are going live. How is everyone doing? Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. Yes, lots of people are here. Woohoo! Okay, let's see who's here. Right, I can't see any of you, but I'm going to wave. Hi everyone! Happy Wednesday. Super excited about the show this evening. So tough that so many of you are joining me tonight. I'm going to give it a few minutes so that people can enter the room. Just make sure that you're muted, please. Yeah. Okay. Now let's get organised. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Where are we? Close that. Here we go. Cool. So, can you guys just let me know in the Q&A box if you can see my screen? Just put a little yes in the chat box there, if you can all see my screen. Let's have a look. Yes. Perfect. I'll give it another minute. Can't believe a whole week has gone by since I last spoke to you. It's mad. And I hope you guys have been enjoying this fabulous weather. I might go for a little stroll tonight and enjoy that sunshine. Good. Right, what are we doing? Okay, let me just get organised. Okay, I might close that down. Can you all see me as well? You can hear me, you can all see me. I hope you've got a little thumbnail. Just want to make sure that you guys can see me. Can you all see me? Yeah, good. Okay. All right, well, let's get cracking. We've got quite a bit to get through tonight. So you can see my screen. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Perfect. No, we can do this. Okay. All right, guys, let's get cracking. So, online nutrition course week 2. So, first up, thank you so much to everybody who's made a donation. I have to apologise because I made a big mistake. On your previous email, I said that we'd raised £3,335, but that's not true. We've raised £1,500. So I got my numbers mixed up and I'm really, really sorry. I wish we'd made £3,500, but we're only halfway, guys. So thank you so much for all your donations so far. I know that some of you are still yet to make some donations and it really, really helps, even just £5. So I'm going to keep sharing the link, keep doing some posts on Instagram so that we can reach our target of £3,000. So we're halfway, we've raised £1,500. And I'm hoping that by the end of next week, we'll have raised £3,000. So thank you again. For those of you that are new and that don't know, I'm trying to raise money for the Royal Voluntary Service. And these are the volunteers that help the NHS who are non-medical people. And they basically go around to all the elderly people who can't do anything because they're super ill and they've got medical conditions. So they drive around, drop them off food, they drive them to the hospital, and they teach all the other volunteers as well. So thank you so far for all your donations, and we're still yet to raise our target of £3,000. So once again, if you haven't made any contribution, then I will keep sending you the link. It's here, and really, really appreciate your support. Good. So tonight we've got lots to get through. I hope you're sitting ready with your pens and paper. We're going to start with the digestive tract. So really, really fun topic. I'm going to basically do an overview of the digestive system, and then I'm going to cover the factors that affect digestion. So I know a lot of you probably have a lot of digestive complaints. So I'm going to go through things that can upset your digestive tract and what you can do about it. I thought it was really important to go over the immune system, especially right now. It's really important to strengthen your immune system. So again, we're going to do a brief overview, and then we will do, how to boost the immune system. So key foods to be eating, supplements to be taking, that kind of thing. And then I'm going to break into how to read food labels, because I know that can be a minefield, and I thought that would be really, really helpful. So I know I said that I would send supplements and all the lists and things that you can try, but next week I'm covering testing and I'm covering the role of supplements in much more detail. So I'm going to wait until that, and then I'm going to send a really extensive email with all of the things I recommend, all the brands, just so that you're getting it all in one, and it's much more concise. So I hope that makes sense. Did you guys manage to get the 10-day quarantine menu? How have you been getting on with that? Just pop in the chat box. Has anyone made any of the recipes? Did you download the menu? Have you been enjoying it? The 10-day meal plan? Who's been using that? Just pop in your little box there. I want to see how you're getting on. Yes, it's great. Okay, good. Yes, great. And guys, don't forget to, make the recipes, take a photo and tag me. I want to see them. I want to see how you're doing. A couple of bits. Really good. Cool. And I'm going to be recording this session as well. So you'll get this recording and I'll upload it to YouTube too. Perfect. So we've got some new people here. I just wanted to share my story for those of you that don't know me and why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm doing nutrition and all that kind of thing. So 6 years ago, I was walking in the park and I felt really dizzy. I collapsed to the ground, went home, climbed into bed and stayed there for 3 years straight. And I was completely paralysed with exhaustion and my whole life stopped. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't work. I couldn't socialise, couldn't exercise, couldn't even lift my head off the pillow. So long story short, I went to the doctors to get some tests done, but there was nothing wrong with me. I was completely normal. So I went home, climbed into bed and carried on sleeping. And I slept and I slept and I slept and no amount of sleep was making me feel better. So I realised without the doctor's support, I had to get to the bottom of it myself. And I did a ton of research, loads of reading. I went to see every single other health practitioner going. And finally, everything was pointing to the same thing. And I was severely burnt out. Burnout sucks. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And you're probably wondering what the hell I was doing before I collapsed. Well, I was working like a freight train. I said yes to everything. I thought I was superwoman. Wasn't eating properly. Wasn't sleeping properly. Over-exercising. Said yes to everything. And basically collapsed. So you get burnout when your plate is already full, but you keep on adding to it. So long story short, I am 100% recovered today. I've got my energy back. And that's why I do what I do. I love talking to you guys. I love teaching you how not to burn out, how to be energized, and just sharing really the power of food as medicine. So that's why we're here today. And I really hope that you guys can take away a little clinical pearl again. So I'll be opening up the floor to you guys for questions. And then I'm probably going to ask you what one thing you might change at the end of this little workshop. So I want to ask you some questions before we go into digestion, guys. So just pop in your little chat box there, a yes to any of these questions. So who gets bloated after everything they eat? Well, not everything, but sometimes you get bloated. Does anybody suspect that there's certain foods that disagree with you? Yeah. Does anybody get any stomach pain? Wow, we've got loads of stuff coming in here. Yes. Oh my God. Everybody said yes. Okay. Wow. Yes. A lot. Yeah. Bread. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So, spicy food. Yeah. Okay. So who would like to sort their digestion out once and for all? Who would like no pain, no constipation, no blocked bowels, no gas? Yeah. Who would like a flatter stomach, right? Absolutely, yeah. And, obviously summer's around the corner and we've got to get our bikinis on. So I thought, let's sort out our digestion. Perfect. So here's a brief overview of our digestive tract. I'm sure you're very familiar with this, but digestion starts in the mouth. That's why we have these massive teeth at the back of our jaws. They're called the molars, they're the big teeth. And that's the mechanical process of breaking down food. So as soon as you put that food in your mouth and you start chewing, it forms the saliva. And guess what's in the saliva, guys? Digestive enzymes. So there are 3 digestive enzymes. There's protease, that breaks down protein. You've got lipase, which breaks down fats. And you've got amylase, which breaks down carbohydrates. So already that saliva is starting to break down that food. Okay, then we swallow it, goes down the pharynx and the esophagus, or the alimentary canal. It's got lots of different names. And the first thing it hits is the stomach. Now, the stomach is very powerful because it produces something called hydrochloric acid. And what that chiefly does is break down protein. So that's turning all the food. It's called chyme. And it's essentially breaking down the proteins and breaking it into smaller particles so that you guys can utilize that food and that information and start absorbing all the nutrients that protein is given you. So then the liver secretes bile from the gallbladder. The gallbladder is that little tiny thing there, kind of behind the liver there. And that stores bile, but it gets secreted. And bile's role is to emulsify fats. So we've got hydrochloric acid breaking down the protein. You've got bile, which breaks down the fats. And then it goes to the pancreas, which releases even more digestive enzymes. And then it gets moved into the small intestine, and that's really where everything is absorbed. So can you see here, the small intestine is this little sort of, I don't know, what's the best way to describe that? Sort of brain-like looking gut, if you like. That's the smaller part, and that's where all the magic happens. And it's absolutely massive. If you were to take your digestive tract out of your body and spread it out, you know that it's as long as one end of a football pitch to the other. That's how massive it is. But it's all folded up on each other, and that's the small intestine, but it's the most important part because that's where everything gets absorbed, right? Then it gets shifted into the large intestine, and everything is prepared for elimination. So that's really a brief overview of the digestive tract. But I know that you're dying to know what affects digestion. So I've come up with 6 things here that really affect your digestion. The first one is diet. So for sure there are certain foods, and we're going to go through the most common foods that people react to and how you can eliminate them and feel better. The other thing is drugs and medication. So the biggest thing here really is antibiotics. Now we know that antibiotics are brilliant for getting rid of bad bacteria, but they also get rid of the good bacteria, and they can damage certain things. So we'll go through that. Another thing is bugs. So in your stomach or in your small intestine, usually you can pick up bugs like parasites, bacteria, yeasts, and this can happen from food poisoning when you go traveling, or you can just ingest them. And we're going to be talking a lot about bacteria and yeasts and viruses and how they get through into the body and what they do and how we can get rid of them. But definitely if you've got a parasite, you're going to be, basically most people who've got parasites have IBS. So, and we'll be talking about a stool test and everything that you can do in order to identify that. Brilliant stool test that you can do. So what else? Stomach acid. It's actually more common to have low stomach acid rather than high. Quite often, most people do not have enough stomach acid and they start burping. And when they measure, you can measure it and you can actually supplement stomach acid to break down your foods. So you can get quite gassy and windy if you don't have enough stomach acid. But don't worry, we're going to go through this. We'll be talking about digestive enzymes and how and why fibre is so important. Good. So let's talk about the diet. First things first, there are specific foods, right, that are very difficult to break down in the gut, and they can really irritate the gut lining. Now, the 2 major players in this are, wait for it, wheat and dairy. So 1 in 3 people actually have a food intolerance to wheat and dairy. But to be honest with you, if you suspect that one food if you suspect that there's a food that disagrees with you, like let's say you eat pasta all the time or you eat bread, right, and you know that every time you eat that food, you get bloated, that is really your body telling you that you're reacting, okay? So I know there's lots of finger prick tests and blood tests to get all these food allergies and food intolerance tested, but to be honest with you, the gold standard is a food elimination diet. So what that means is if you suspect that there's a food that disagrees with you, the best thing to do is take it out for 2 weeks, reintroduce it and see if the symptoms flare up again. Okay, and let's say you were to do that for a week. Let's say you were to cut out wheat for 2 weeks, okay, and you noticed that your digestive tract was so much better and you had more energy and you felt great. Then you reintroduced a piece of bread or a slice of toast or a couple of pieces and you had flare-ups again. That's your body telling you that that is the food that you're not meant to be eating. And I have to tell you that, every time I put anybody on a wheat-free diet, basically gluten-free diet, and we'll be talking about gluten in a minute, and a dairy-free diet, and especially when they go on one all together, they feel so much better. Their energy improves, their digestion's so much better, they have a better time going to the loo, their skin clears up, they feel, the brain fog goes. So just pop in your chat box, guys. I'm really curious to know if you've ever cut out a food group, whether you've cut out gluten, wheat, dairy, sugar, and just let me know, how it's been. What's it been like? Dairy for sure. Yeah, no, yeah, more energy. No, you haven't. Okay. Gluten, never. Yes, skin cleared up without the wheat and the dairy. Okay, I have cut gluten out. Okay, yeah, have not yet. Dairy, yes. Eggs, dairy, never. Sugar. Okay, so mixed bag there. Cool. So let's go through the slides and I'm sharing with you how we can do this. Gluten, but slowly reintroduce. Okay. Yeah, feel less bloated without gluten for sure, absolutely. And I really, I genuinely, no one's ever come up to me. I mean, I've been seeing clients for over 12 years and not one person has ever said, I feel terrible on a gluten-free diet, ever. It's been exactly the opposite. They just lose weight, they feel better, energy, digestion. And that's honestly, if anyone comes to me with digestive issues or weight issues, but particularly digestive issues, I eliminate the foods that are inflammatory, which are wheat and dairy, okay? So, gluten. So, for those of you that don't know, gluten is actually a protein, right? And it's found in wheat, barley, and rye. And this is the component. This protein, the gluten, is what people have difficulty with. So, what else? Gluten-free foods. Really, if you're going to take out gluten, it's whenever you take something out of the diet, it's really important to replace it with something else. So, let's say you're going to go gluten-free for a week. it's important to replace it with naturally gluten-free grains so that you've still got that level of carbohydrates going in. So that might be all of your rice, okay? All rice is gluten-free. Lentils are naturally gluten-free. Chickpeas, corn, quinoa, buckwheat, all of these things are gluten-free. Now, you may have heard of celiacs or celiac disease, and these people get very, very sick when they eat gluten. And if you think about, you remember the digestive tract? I talked about the small intestine, you know, the thing that goes around like this. So if you were to look at the wall or the inner wall of the small intestines and to open it up, it has something in there called microvilli, and they're finger-like projections. And what they do is they move things along, they move food particles along the digestive tract, these microvilli, but they're tiny, they've got little receptors here, and they absorb all your nutrients, so they're super, super important. And what happens when a celiac eats gluten to the microvilli is it completely damages it, and it makes it go down, and it basically turns into, they call it shag-like carpet. So instead of having like lots of like fluff coming out of the carpet, it's like really reduced and damaged. It's all short, right? So that means that celiac people cannot absorb nutrients, which is why they're so tired, which is why their skin goes pale, which is why they have, they're very nutrient deficient. So even if you don't have celiac, in 2011, basically a panel of celiac experts coined this term non-celiac gluten sensitivity, which basically means that you can still react to gluten anywhere in the body, not just the digestive tract. You can get headaches, you can get arthritis in the knees, you can get migraines, right? But you're not celiac, okay? So it's called non-gluten celiac sensitivity. And that's what I see a lot. A lot of people are reacting to gluten. It's non-celiac gluten sensitivity because the gluten is so damaging. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's damaging in the gut. It can be anywhere. So that's why really I advocate a gluten-free diet, and most people thrive. So again, maybe you want to introduce a gluten-free diet for the next 2 weeks and reintroduce it in about 2 weeks' time and just see how you go. I've actually got a gluten-free handout. I just remembered I've got a gluten-free ebook, so I'll pop that on the next email, and you guys, excuse me, you guys can download that and look at that and use that as your guide. Good. So the next thing is dairy. So we're talking, cheese, milk, butter. Dairy is another food that causes a lot of problems in a lot of the clients that I see. It's very mucus forming. And again, 1 in 3 people don't have the enzyme lactase. You remember, anything ending in A's is an enzyme. Anything ending in O's is a sugar. So most people don't have the enzyme lactase to break down the sugar in milk, right? So that means that they can have problems breaking it down. They get gas, wind, pain, that kind of thing. And actually, new studies suggest that too much milk consumption can lead to breast cancer because it contains high amounts of growth hormone. You have to remember that milk is for calves, right? And they've got 4 stomachs. Humans have only got 1. And, we're the only mammal on the planet that drink milk from another animal beyond infancy, right? So you never see an elephant drinking the milk from a giraffe after the age of 25. And, I'm a big believer in swapping and trying things and trying new foods, and there are so many alternatives to dairy, right? So again, you're replacing it. So if you're going to take out dairy for the next 2 weeks and see how you go, your skin might clear up, you might lose weight, think better and what have you, and your immune system gets stronger. I recommend that you swap dairy foods for things like soya milk, rice milk, oat milk, nut milk, and coconut milk, which is delicious. And if you're concerned about the calcium content, you can increase your calcium-rich foods, which is things like sesame seeds, dark green leafy vegetables, spinach, kale, broccoli, or you can take a supplement. And just remember that if you're supplementing calcium, make sure you take it with magnesium, because magnesium helps to facilitate the absorption of calcium. But I'm going to go over all of the supplements next week with the supplement workshop. Good. So has anybody ever been on antibiotics? You've probably had antibiotics in the past, and I'm sure there's lots of you out there that have had, a course of antibiotics that have been, quite damaging. Let's see what you've said. Yeah. And has anybody had really bad food poisoning? And who's gone away, to India or whatever, and your digestive tract just hasn't been right ever since? Has anybody ever had that, where you've gone away and you've travelled and you've picked up a bug and you had vomiting and all that, and then you literally were never right ever since? Yes, okay, lots of you, yeah, but better now, yeah, okay. So it's likely, or it's possible, that you could have picked up a parasite, Okay, and I'm going to go through parasites and what they are and how we detect them later. But this is why stool tests is so effective. And I remember I had a stool test client and she was in pain, in agony, running to the loo, really bad constipation, running to the loo. And it really got in the way of her life. And we did a test. She had 2 parasites. We cleared them and she was much better. But she had no clue. She didn't know what the hell was going on. And that's why testing can be really, really effective. But there's lots of other things you can do. So bad bacteria, so drugs and medication. So antibiotics, they kill the good guys and they kill the bad guys. So it's really important to replenish with probiotics afterwards. So whenever you're taking antibiotics, don't take them at the same time. Don't take probiotics at the same time. Make sure you're taking them away from the antibiotics and after the course is finished, because we want to repopulate, right? We want to repopulate the gut, reboost what the antibiotics have killed, so that you've got you don't have something called dysbiosis. Dysbiosis basically means disharmony in the gut, and that's what antibiotics can do. So just be careful. What else? Too much alcohol, recreational drugs can inflame the stomach lining. If you have way too much alcohol, it can lead to gastritis, and that can be very painful and you get real bad nausea, and it's not very comfortable at all. Alcohol is obviously inflammatory, and if you've got inflammatory conditions, if you've got autoimmune conditions, if you've got digestive issues, do not drink alcohol, because it just inflames everything and actually can block the absorption of vitamin C, magnesium, vitamin A, vitamin E, all of which are really healing on the gut lining. And I'm going to share with you supplements to support the gut lining as well. What else? So non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, that's things like paracetamol, Nurofen, and I know you guys take loads of that. These can actually burn your stomach lining and turn them into it can create tiny little holes. And you can, that's when it leads to stomach ulcers. Sorry, I've had 3 talks today, so sorry if I'm like, and just make sure that, if you've been diagnosed with anemia, then sometimes the doctor will give you iron pills, iron supplements, and there's different forms of iron, and sometimes they can be constipating. So again, these are the sorts of drugs that you need to be careful. They can cause digestive issues, right? How are we doing? We've got questions. Is everybody okay? Yeah, okay, good. Right, bugs. Right, I'm talking yeasts, bacteria, parasites, food poisoning. Okay, let's go through this. Right, yeast overgrowth. The most common one is Candida. It obviously lives in the digestive tract. Pretty much everybody has a tiny amount, of Candida residing in their gut. But what Candida thrives on is sugar, right? So if you have real bad sugar cravings, you get sugar hangovers, you have very bad brain fog, you can't function, your digestion, you've got really bad wind, it could be that you're eating too much sugar and you're feeding that yeast. It thrives on sugar. So just be careful about the amount of sugar that you're having, and I'm going to go through with you why probiotics are really important for Candida a bit later. If you do have Candida and you suspect you've got any issues, I'm going to go through testing, but there's so many powerful herbs that kill bugs. I think the number one herb that kills bugs and most powerful is oregano. So oregano oil wipes out everything. It can wipe out Helicobacter pylori, it can wipe out Candida and parasites as well. So again, it's very individual, but once again, if you've got digestive issues, first of all, take away the gluten and the dairy, see how you get on. That's the first protocol. See if it clears up, see if you've got better digestion going on. Do a stool test, identify what's going on, and then address the symptoms and the problems accordingly. So take probiotics, take some oregano or anything, whatever the results are telling you. But I'm going to go through a test result so you can have a look. So bacteria, so unwanted bacteria. So, in our gut, we've got friendly bacteria and we've also got bad bacteria. And again, if you've got an overgrowth of bad bacteria, not necessarily Candida because that's a yeast, but if you've just got lots of overgrowth of bad bacteria, again, from too much stress, too much sugar, poor diet, you name it, too much of an immune response, food poisoning, the bad bacteria can take over. And again, you're going to have digestive complaints. You're going to feel bloated, gassy, windy, and all of that. So that's not what we want. And like I said before, if you pick up a parasite, you can get really bad IBS symptoms. And if you're running to the loo and you've got that irritable bowel syndrome, which is, constantly like running to the loo, and then you have a period of blocked bowels, it's very much likely that you've got a parasite. So testing is key. And if you've got food poisoning, that's my advice. I've had so much food poisoning in my life and it sucks, but don't eat anything. Drink lots of water, drink lots of coconut water. Take the electrolytes, cane, the probiotics, and you can also take something called Saccharomyces boulardii. I'll go through this with you again on the supplements. Don't worry, and I'm going to show you which ones to take. But Saccharomyces boulardii is brilliant. It's a non-pathogenic yeast which you can supplement, and it stops all diarrhea. It's brilliant. So if you've got IBS and you've got, it literally stops it in the day. So it's so powerful. Right, what else? Sorry, I'm whizzing through because we've got lots to get through. So here we go. The test that I use is called, it's a stool test. It's not very pretty. You basically get the kit, you take a sample in your bathroom and you put it in a little vial, send it to the lab, and then we get the results. It's called the GIFX stool test, but it is brilliant. If you go to the GP and they do a stool test, they only test for certain analytes, probably only about 12 different things, right? They might test for, in fact, I don't really know, but I know that they only test for about 2 or 3 parasites. They'll measure, if there's a little bit of inflammation and that kind of thing. And I always say going private is much better because this test tests for everything. It tests for levels of inflammation. It tests whether you're sensitive to gluten, whether you've got yeast overgrowth, parasite overgrowth, bacteria. It tests for hundreds of different parasites, not just 3. It tests for pathogens, whether you've got pharmaceutical sensitivities, pancreatic function, whether or not you've got good digestion, bad absorption. So it's brilliant. I don't think I was going to share with you what it looks like the test results, but it just basically says, this is what you've got, this is what you need to take, and this is how long you should take it for. But again, I'm going to go through this a little bit in much more detail next week when we go through all the tests that I use and which tests you can identify and which ones for you and which ones you need and why. So stomach acid, so it's produced every time we eat, and I mentioned this before, it's produced in the stomach. Its main job is to break down the protein from foods, from our diet, so that we can absorb the nutrients, and it also acts as a line of defense against pathogens, such as bacteria and parasites. So if your levels are low, it's like you're likely to experience bloating, belching, definitely flatulence, mostly immediately after meals. You might get heartburn, but that's you might get a little bit of heartburn, but that's actually caused by too much stomach acid, indigestion, constipation, and undigested food in the stool. So these are some of the signs and symptoms that you're not breaking down your food. You can actually supplement with stomach acid. It's called HCl, hydrochloric acid, but if you're supplementing with stomach acid, make sure you're taking it with pepsin. Don't worry though, which basically helps the breakdown of all your foods also. It's like an enzyme. But I'll go through all of these next week in the role of supplements. Oh, there's a stomach acid test you guys can do at home. I forgot about this. So if you dissolve, in the first thing in the morning, if you get a glass of water and you dissolve, how much do you need? Where is it? I think it's half a teaspoon of bicarbonate, 1 level teaspoon of bicarbonate soda. So that's stuff you've got in your cupboards. Get a teaspoon of that and put it in some water and stir it around. And you have to drink all of it on an empty stomach, right? First thing in the morning. Now, if you burp, it indicates that you've got adequate hydrochloric levels. Oh God, sorry. This is my third talk of the day. It indicates that you've got enough HCl in your stomach, right? If you don't burp, it's because the alkaline bicarbonate hasn't reacted with enough acid in the stomach, so you're not creating gas. Does that make sense? So you can do this in the morning, first thing tomorrow, and let me know how you get on. But basically, you want to burp. That means that the reaction has taken place. So if you've got no burping, nothing after 10 minutes, it can indicate that you've got low stomach acid levels and you're not breaking down your proteins and your digestive tract is going to be suffering. Does that make sense? Good. So digestive enzymes. So these are present in your saliva. So we've got amylase, lipase, and protease. A lack of digestive enzymes can affect breakdown of food and can lead to fermentation. So again, if you've got really bad gas, wind, pain, you can actually supplement digestive enzymes. And again, I'm going to go through this next week. There's some really good brands, some very effective brands where you just supplement it and you take it with food whilst on the first mouthful of your food. So you chew it and you swallow the enzymes and it helps to break things down. If you've got constipation and you're really blocked, digestive enzymes are really, really effective. And obviously, you know, in order for digestion to work efficiently, we need to make sure that we're eating fibre. You need 25 grams of fibre per day. Now, I know we talked about this before, but there's 2 different types of fibre. We've got soluble fibre and insoluble fibre. Soluble fibre basically digests in water and forms a paste or a gel that forms, and it slows the rate of which food passes through the intestines. So good examples of this are things like lentils, oats, nuts, barley. It's like the roughage, it's like the harder stuff. And then we've got insoluble fiber, which basically forms, that absorbs water, right? And it's a little bit more gel-like, it's much more softer, and it helps to remove toxins. So remember the small intestines, basically what insoluble fiber does is it sweeps through you like an intestinal broom, and it helps to bind to toxins and excess hormones and pull them out of the body. Because guys, if you're constipated and you've got blocked bowels, you're not clearing, you need to be going to the loo at least once or twice a day, right? Anything less than that and it's constipation. Because if you're blocked and you're not going to the loo for like maybe 2 days, what happens is you're not excreting, and you're not excreting the toxins. And so what happens is hormones get reabsorbed and reuptake into the bloodstream, and so that can lead to a hormone imbalance. So if your digestive tract isn't functioning, you're likely to feel sluggish, you're going to be blocked bowels, headaches. So it's really important to consider all of these things and get your digestive tract working optimally. And guess what? I think we're talking about the immune system now. 70% of your digestive tract is your immune system, right? So double whammy. If you want to support your immune system, look at the digestive tract, and vice versa. If you want to support your digestive tract, look to the immune system. So it's very clever, your body. Right, it's got some digestion tips for you, and then we're going to whiz through immune function. Chew your food. Make sure you're putting your knife and fork down between each meal. Digestion starts in the mouth. Try not to inhale too much air, because then you're going to feel really full really quickly. It takes about 20 minutes for your brain to register that you're full, so eating really quickly isn't a good idea. I would consider taking some digestive enzymes to help break down the foods. Definitely take some probiotics every single day, especially now. And I'm going to share with you why probiotics is so powerful for the immune system as well. Try an elimination diet. And this really is game changing. If you cut out gluten for 2 weeks, if you cut out dairy for 2 weeks, and you monitor the results, keep a food diary, and you're like, oh, today I felt great, or today I felt like much better because I cut out whatever it was. I find that is the kind of golden nugget really, is eliminating the foods that disagree with you, or even just cutting out gluten and just giving it a go and seeing how you get on. Monitor the results and then reintroducing it and seeing if you feel rubbish again. Yeah? And if you're still confused and you don't know what to do and your digestive tract is rubbish and you're pulling your hair out, run the stool test. And that's always my sort of my trump card. If anyone's got very complicated digestive issues that have been going on for years and years and years, do the stool test. Okay? So I've just put down here just a sort of recap. If you want to look to get some digestive supplements, and don't worry, I'll explode this and expand on this next week. Probiotics for your gut. And actually, probiotics help to absorb nutrients from your food. So for anybody that's got you're not absorbing your nutrients and you've got sort of deficiencies, probiotics are key. Digestive enzymes are really good for a sluggish or weak digestive system. And psyllium husks. Have you guys heard of this before? So psyllium husk is pure soluble fiber, which absorbs water and is really brilliant for just pushing things through and stopping you from being constipated. So it's great if you've got blocked bowels and you just cannot go to the loo. Start taking some psyllium husk, and you can put it in. It comes as like a sort of powder. It's like a gel. Put it in. No, it's like a flaky flake, and it forms into kind of like a gel. And you can drink that, or you can supplement it, but you need to drink lots of water with it. Good. Yes, I tried Optibac probiotics, but they do make you pass wind. Is that normal? Ooh, that might be because it's got FOS in there. So FOS, F-O-S, stands for fructooligosaccharide. And that is a form of sugar. It's an inulin. It's like a prebiotic. You've probably heard of a prebiotic. So that might be feeding too much the sugar, the yeast or the overgrowth, whatever it is that you've got. So try to get a probiotic that doesn't have FOS in it. F-O-S. Let me put it in there. F-O-S. I hope you're getting my types there. But I do like Optibac probiotics. They're very good. Optibac or BioCare. Let me put this in. BioCare, Optibac. But again, guys, don't worry. I'm going to go through supplements extensively next week. If you have I like Simprove. Simprove is very good. In fact, if you're having wind and gas, take Simprove, because that doesn't have FOS in it. Yeah? I haven't used Arbonne's Digestive Plus. There's a really good brand called, sorry, I'm whizzing through this. What's the brand? Terra Nova Digestive Enzyme Complex. Try that digestive enzyme. It's brilliant. Right. I'll take questions at the end, guys. I just want to get through all these slides. Good. Right, let's do the immune system. Woo, how's everybody feeling? Am I whizzing through? I haven't even stopped for air. But I want you guys to learn. I hope you're taking some good notes. Are we all taking good notes? Are you all learning lots? Yeah? Thumbs up. Just put a yes. Good. Okay. Yes, excellent. Right, my dears. So let's just do a quick overview of the immune system, and then we'll do food labels, and I'm going to ask you guys some questions. You can ask me some questions. So our immune system is our personal weapon against all diseases and infections, and every single day it's constantly working to help fight against pathogens, viruses, bacteria. Now it's divided into two parts. Okay, so you've got your immune system is mostly in your digestive tract, but there's two sort of systems, if you like. Now the first one is the innate immune system, and the second one is called the adaptive immune system. Okay, so let's go through what these are. So innate immunity is awesome. It's basically our first line of immune defense, right? Its main role is to identify which particles are foreign and potentially harmful and which ones are part of your body. And this is called self or non-self. So, and the way that it works is basically, it's made up of barriers, to entry. So, for example, physical barriers, right? So let's say your skin is your first physical barrier to stop pathogens from going in. The respiratory tract. So your lungs, you know, they've got that's part of the mucus in your lungs is one of your first line of immune defense. Your eyelashes, right? Your bodily hair. These are the things that act as barriers, like defense mechanisms that stop pathogens and viruses from going in the first place. So it's called innate immunity. And then it's also made up of defense mechanisms. So bile. So we talked about bile being stored in the gallbladder and being released when you start chewing food and when you're breaking down foods. Bile emulsifies fats, but it also can break down foods and particles, but also pathogens. Saliva, tears, sweat. All these sorts of secretions are barriers to entry, if you like. So they inhibit. Their job is to stop things from coming in the first place. So that's innate immunity. Now, if that all fails, and let's say you get COVID-19 and you breathe it in, or it goes into the lungs and it doesn't get bypassed or whatever, and this first line of immune defense doesn't work, we have the second stage of immunity, and that's called adaptive immunity. And this is also called acquired immunity. And this is where antigens and antibodies are produced. So this is that whole sort of mechanism where, you know, the invader's gone in, and all of a sudden, you know, what happens is, let's say there's a virus that goes in, okay, and your body goes, oh my God, that's a pathogen. I don't recognize this as self. It's non-self. It's an invader. So what happens is antigens are released, and then antibodies are produced, right? And it's when we have antibodies that our immune system uses immunological memory so that we don't suffer from that condition again. So, for example, chickenpox is the best example of that. You only get chickenpox once because when you get it and it's internalized, antibodies are produced and you never get it again. So just to recap, when the foreign substance comes in, such as the bacteria or the virus, and it's detective, several types of cells work together in order to respond them. So first things first is like, what is this foreign substance? Is it self or is it non-self? So when they identify that it's a foreigner, then it produces antigens, right? So the virus or bacteria or whatever tries to get into the host of the cell and produces antigens. Now, antigens when antigens are present, it triggers other cells known as lymphocytes. I don't know if you guys have heard of lymphocytes, but what the lymphocytes do is produce antibodies, and that's what we need. Antibodies are basically proteins that engulf antigens. So they're really important, and they're neutralizing all these bad viruses, pathogens in the form of antigens. So once these antibodies are produced, they stay in a person's body so that their immune system encounters so if the immune system encounters that antigen again, boom, it's going to release the antibodies and they can engulf them straight away. And that's acquired immunity. That is immunological memory, and that is why we don't get sick with the same thing again and again. So chickenpox is the best example. Good. So we've also got something called autoimmunity. Now this is basically where your immune system attacks your cells completely by accident. So it sees your own cells as foreign. It's not been invaded by a pathogen or an antigen. It starts to see something that's living there, that's inside your body, as going, ooh, that looks foreign. I'm going to start attacking it. And it mounts an immune response to your own physical tissue. And it's not doing that it's doing it by accident. It's not doing it on purpose. It's getting confused and it's getting mis-signaling, and it's basically attacking yourself by accident. Now, there's loads of autoimmune conditions. There's about over 70 classified ones, but the most common ones are celiac disease, Crohn's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, MS. There's a thyroid one, Graves' disease. So your body, you know, and that's why when you've got like thyroid issues or you've got Graves' disease, your body is attacking your own thyroid gland, okay? And it's not doing it, it's doing it by accident. So again, if you've got any autoimmune conditions, you've got to sort out the digestive tract. You've got to give it things like L-glutamine. L-glutamine is basically like a protein that really helps to close any holes in the gut wall. There's something called intestinal permeability. Have you guys heard of that? It's also known as leaky gut syndrome. Again, people with IBS, autoimmune conditions, invariably they will have leaky gut syndrome. We've got lots of questions here. Yes, loads. Oh, okay. That was from the thing. Yes, rheumatoid arthritis. So really, really important for you. Anyone with autoimmune condition, you must go on an anti-inflammatory diet. Okay? Anti-inflammatory diet means no gluten, no dairy, no sugar, no alcohol, no red meat. Very much plant-based. Lots of vegan-based proteins. Lots of vegetables, some fruits, nuts, seeds, fish, oils, right? And then supplementing things like probiotics, L-glutamine, vitamin A. All of these things are really healing. And they heal the digestive tract, they heal the gut lining, and therefore supporting your immune response. So it's quite complicated, but I'm trying to make it as basic as possible. And there's lots to go through, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. So we're going to carry on. We've got 20 minutes left. Okay, top 5 immune-boosting foods. Garlic. Love garlic. Has everybody been using garlic in their cooking recently? Just pop a yes down there who loves garlic. It's so powerful. Yeah. Amazing. I love garlic. It's so easy to put in your diet. You can chuck it in your soups, your stews, your salads. Best thing about garlic is the allicin, right? The allicin is that sulfurous, smelly compound, which has got antibacterial, antimicrobial properties. If you feel like you're coming down with something, chop loads of garlic in your food and you can swallow it. So if you feel like you're getting a bit sick and you've got symptoms or whatever, get a whole garlic clove, chop it into 4s and swallow it. Right, then you've got raw garlic going in, and it's going to stop the immune response from taking place. Probiotics. So probiotics are so powerful. What they do is they engulf pathogens. So you remember we talked about antibodies fighting against antigens. Probiotics help to engulf and fight pathogens as well, like bacteria, bad bacteria. They'll it's kind of like they eat the bad cells. You know, like Pac-Man. They just go and they eat it, and then they take it out of the body. So they're first line of immune defense. They're very good for protecting the immune system. They absorb vitamins and minerals from your diet. Make sure that you're taking at least 20 billion organisms of friendly bacteria per capsule. And again, Octavac BioCare, really love these guys. And but don't worry, I'm going to go through this next week in supplements in much more detail, and I'll put a big list of all the supplements you need to take. So vitamin C, fruits and vegetables, everybody. I can't remember if we did this last week, but let's do a poll. Let's do a Q&A, sorry. Can you just pop in your, what have I done? Share screen. Where's it gone? If you can just put in your Q&A, guys, how many portions of fruits and vegetables you eat per day? Oh my God, I've lost you. What have I done? I've pressed the wrong button. There we are. How many portions of fruit and vegetables are you eating per day? I want to have a look. Let's see. 8, 3 to 4, 6. Okay, 4. Yeah, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. Okay, not bad. Where's my screen gone? Share screen. Where's it gone? Here we go. Can you still see the screen? Yeah. You want to be making sure that you're getting 8 portions of fruits and vegetables in per day because of the vitamin C. Vitamin C is so powerful for the immune system. I genuinely believe that vitamin C is the antiviral vitamin. What it does is vitamin C helps to resist infections from getting in the first place. And studies suggest that vitamin C helps to lower the duration of a cold. Now, vitamin C is very safe to take in high dosages. It's water soluble, and for that reason, you can take up to 3 to 5 grams per day. You want to get powdered vitamin C and make sure you're taking vitamin C ascorbate because it's very easy for your digestive tract to absorb. But don't worry, because next week I'm going to be sharing with you all the types of vitamin C that you can take and where to get them from and how to take it and all that kind of thing. Where are we? Vitamin D. So vitamin D is probably second in line into the most important vitamin for your immune system. It's very effective in for chest infections. So studies suggest that it helps to lower the duration of chest infections. It's difficult to get vitamin D in the diet, so you can supplement it. You can take 500 to 1,000 international units per day, or you can just sit in the sunshine for 20 to 30 minutes. And then green tea. I love green tea. I would swap your coffee for green tea if you want to support your immune system, because it's packed with antioxidants and called polyphenols, which are really good for fighting infections. So again, if you want to protect your immune system right now, get drinking the green tea. It's also got antimicrobial properties, and it has more antioxidants, 3 times more antioxidants than a normal cup of tea. What are the foods? So cupboard foods that you can grab to boost your immune system: beans. Beans are packed full of B vitamins, which give you energy, but also iron. Iron is really important for the body's immune defense. Turmeric, I love. I'm sure you guys have got lots of turmeric. It has major anti-inflammatory properties. So again, if you've got autoimmune conditions, digestive issues, you've got lots of inflammation, get that turmeric in the diet. Ginger has really powerful antibacterial properties. It contains an anti-inflammatory property called gingerol, and that works by dilating the blood vessels, and that's what we want, because when your blood vessels are dilated, all the blood can go through with all the nutrients and all the oxygen. And we've talked about garlic and eggs. And it's particularly the egg yolk that's the most powerful. That's where all the nutrients lie. The egg yolk contains good amounts of zinc, good amounts of selenium, and zinc is crucial for the function of the cells that help adaptive immunity. So remember I talked about the lymphocytes and how the lymphocytes help to generate antibodies? You need zinc present for that. So zinc, you can get zinc in oysters, meats, poultry, chicken, fish, eggs, and egg yolks. Good. Right, how to read food labels, and then I'm going to do Q&A. I know this is a complete minefield and it's so confusing, but I'm going to try and do a sort of overview basics. I want to start with the ingredients. So always, guys, whenever you're grabbing a food, go straight to the ingredients first, okay? So I know it's tough, but by law, the more of an ingredient, basically everything in that food that you're grabbing and picking up, everything in that food has to be announced, it has to be written down. It doesn't matter if there's only a trace element in there. By law, everything needs to be in there. So what happens is, if you're reading an ingredient, the first ingredient that you read from that list is all in priority of order. So it's like order of appearance. So if you pick up, let's say a chocolate bar, and it says milk, and then sugar, and then cocoa powder, you know that milk is the main ingredient in that thing. And then the second main ingredient is sugar. And then the third main ingredient is cocoa powder. So it goes in order of appearance, right? So that's the first thing that you need to know about ingredients. Whenever you pick up a food, what else am I saying? Oh yes, it's much more important to read the food labels and see what is actually in that product, rather than look at the calories and worry about that. I always find it's about the quality of the food. Okay, so I always go straight to the ingredients to see what's actually in there, and the fewer the ingredients in that food, the better. Because let's say you pick up a bag of bread, right? Sliced bread. If it's just whole wheat flour, yeast, salt, perfect. If it's got things in there that you can't pronounce, don't eat it. As a rule of thumb, if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it, okay? And the fewer the ingredients, the better. And obviously, the more natural the ingredients, the better as well. Now, be careful of food claims. So, for example, like bread again, if you want to make sure that, if it says made with whole grain, where's my example? I've got the wheat one here. Where is it? Yeah, so let's say you're choosing bread. If it says wheat and not whole wheat, so if it just says wheat, so you've picked up the bread and it just says wheat, that means that it's just white flour. And we don't want white flour because that's bleached. It's got no nutrients in it whatsoever. You have to make sure it says whole wheat or whole grain, because then you know that the flour that they've used is whole grain. So it gets a bit confusing, I know. But just back to claims. So anything that says reduced fat basically means high sugar, okay? So yogurt is the best example of this. Every yogurt that's taken away the fat, they have to replace it with sugar in order to make it feel good. So you always want to make sure that you're going for full fat yogurt, okay? And watch out for hidden sugars. They are everywhere. They're in, oh my God, bread, sauces, pastas, ketchup. Sugar is everywhere. And I said to you before, anything ending in O-S-E is a sugar, okay? Maltose, lactose, fructose. Fruits I'm okay with, obviously in moderation, and honey I'm okay with, a little bit of stevia, but you might want to just make sure that you're getting good at reading the ingredients. Whenever you're picking up a food in question, go straight to the ingredients list If it's got loads of O's in there, loads of stuff you can't pronounce, it's best to make it yourself or put it down, okay? So normally you'll get like a sort of nutrition facts, nutritional information, and I've just dragged in this sort of image here just to go through what one normally looks like. But you've got this serving size here. So let's say per container is a cup, and that's the grammage. So it's 227 grams. And then it will give you the calories per serving. It will also give you the calories per 100 grams and the calories per whole thing. But what we want to look at is the calories per serving, because that's what you're going to be ingesting. So let's say the food in question is 227 grams, and that gives you 280 calories, okay? And then it breaks down everything that's in that food. So the total fat, the cholesterol, the sodium. It will give you the protein and the carbohydrates. So it will give you your macronutrients, which is great. Now, on the right-hand side, it gives you your daily value, and these are the percentages. So that basically means your daily value basically tells you how much a nutrient in that particular serving contributes to your daily diet. So for example, this one here says 12% of that total fat, so 9 grams is 12%, goes towards 12% of your daily diet, okay? Same with this cholesterol. So it gives you 35 milligrams of cholesterol, 12% of which contributes to your daily value. Does that make sense? What else? We want to make sure that when we're looking at the carbohydrates, the total amount of carbohydrates in this food in question is 34 grams, of which is dietary fiber is 4 grams, of which total sugars is 6 grams. And then you want to be careful here, because if it's got lots of sugar, so let's go to my sugar. Here we go. So the World Health Organization recommends that we should consume roughly 25 grams, which I think is a lot, 6 teaspoons per day. I think that's quite a lot. So if that food in question has got 18 grams of which sugars, and the World Health Organization is only reckoned 25, and you're ingesting that one serving, 18 grams of sugar, that's a lot. And you already know that your daily value or your consumption of sugar is going to be high. So that's how you can navigate through the fats, the proteins, and the carbohydrates. Remember, we spoke about proteins last week. So again, just going back to this food label. So whatever this food is, it doesn't actually say, but it says per serving, 15 grams protein. Perfect. And you want to make sure that you're getting in a gram of protein per kilo of body weight. So if you weigh 80 kilos, so let's say you've got to get in 60 kilos, 15 grams protein as a snack, brilliant. And then it'll give you your micronutrients, so vitamin D, calcium, iron, blah, blah, blah. All right, so that's a whistle-stop tour. And what else? I just wanted to say something about the free-from foods. Be careful of free-from foods. Right, there's so many companies out there that are like, free from, and you look at the ingredients, it's full of crap. So just be careful, really, those foods, all of them that say free from, are questionable. You want to just go for the naturally free from foods anyway, so like rice on its own and cook it yourself, or, quinoa on its own and cook it from yourself. Most of these free from foods are crap, they're packed with fillers, they've got ingredients in there that you can't pronounce, and they're not healthy for you. So just be very careful. Again, if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. And as a general rule of thumb, guys, when you're shopping in the supermarket, all of the healthy stuff, all the eggs and the vegetables, is generally around the outside aisles, and all the junk and all the rubbish and all the crap, all the sugary foods, all the cakes and biscuits is in the middle. Okay, so just as a navigational tour, that's that. Right, we've got about 8 minutes. I want to open up the floor, ask you guys some questions. Oh yeah, I've written a book, everybody. You know this. You know that I've written a book, Burnout's a Bitch. It's basically about how I recovered from burnout, how to get your energy back in 6 weeks, and then it breaks into a 6-week meal plan packed full of yummy recipes, all designed to give you energy. It's coming out in January. Head over to my Instagram. We're all on Instagram there if you want to check that out and more things. So I'm going to ask you guys some questions. Now you're going to ask me questions. Go. Give me your questions. And then I'm going to ask you what you have learned today. Right, I'm going to do my best to do this. Could you please recommend a good, clean brand of bread, please? Yes! What's that one called that I've been using? Oh my god. Can't remember. What's it called? I've had a blank. I can't remember. Let me find it and I'll tell you. What should I do with gastritis? Oh my god, you have to take probiotics and you have to take Saccharomyces boulardii. And you have to take, I had gastritis once and I took 6 probiotics, like I did 2 sort of every hour, and I know that's a lot, but my god, my nausea just went, and my digestive tract really calmed down. Could you repeat the names of some probiotics? Yes, so Octibac, let me put them in the thing again. Optivac, BioCare, and Simprove. I would say they're my top 3. Take these every day, guys. Simprove. How can you tell what sugars are natural or added on the food label? That's a good one. So dextrose, maltose, and sweeteners like aspartame and what's the other one called? Saccharin. They are added sugars, and the sweeteners like aspartame and saccharin are carcinogenic. They're even worse than normal sugars. So just be careful about those. The natural sugars are things that are naturally present in that food. So fructose is a natural sugar. Glucose is a natural sugar. Lactose is a natural sugar found in milk. All the other ones like dextrose, and like the sweeteners, they're the ones that you need to look out for. They're the ones that you need to avoid. But do I need to take probiotics every day forever? No, absolutely. Well, you can do. It's a good question. I get asked this a lot. You can take probiotics indefinitely. They're really good for, they're very safe to take, and they're really good for your digestive tract and your immune system. But definitely, if you've got gastritis, you need to take like a big dose. So Saccharomyces boulardii and probiotics for the gastritis, and your nausea and your digestive tract should subside in about 2 days. How do you get rid of candida? Oh, wow. Oregano. Take some oregano, but only start small dosages, because it's so powerful, and if you take too much, you can bend over in pain. And you get something called a die-off effect when it's killing off too much of the sugar, and the bacteria just goes mad. So get like a gentle oregano. Let me look into a good supplement. There's a good one. I forget the name. Let me look into a good supplement for oregano, and I'll put that on the course next week. What else have we got here? Prebiotic recommendations. Yes, so that's things like garlic, leeks, onions, sauerkraut. Prebiotics really help to feed the friendly bacteria, so you can get those in every single day. Oily fish. I can't eat white fish. On top of that, I don't eat dairy. So how much is a portion of fish in grams? Okay, so 100 gram. So 100 gram of a fish, like a fish fillet, about 100 grams is a portion. What was the question? 3 to 4 portions of oily fish per week. Yes, 3 to 4 portions of oily fish per week is good. But yes, you can eat white fish on top of that. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Is jaggery a good substitute of sugar? I don't know what that is. Jaggery, what's that? What do you mean? Jaggery, I've never heard of it. Do you mean chicory? Yes, gluten. So rye bread has got gluten in it. So has spelt. Why do I not feel bloated after eating it? But do when eating normal bread? It's likely because normal bread has got, it gets converted into sugar more quickly, and you're going to have much more of a sugar response, and it's probably going to feed the bad bacteria in your gut. Whereas the rye bread has got vitamins and minerals, fiber, whole grains, which basically don't feed the bad bacteria in the gut. Which flour do you suggest instead of white flour? Rice flour is good. Gram flour is chickpea flour, that's naturally gluten-free, and coconut flour. I would just go gluten-free with that one. What else have we got up here? Yes, what is a natural sugar substitute to sweeten drinks? Stevia. Let me put this down. Stevia. It's a plant-based sugar. This is basically a diabetic-friendly sugar, and the way it works is it doesn't wreak havoc with your blood sugar levels. You only need a tiny, tiny, tiny amount for it to feel sweet. And it's a diabetic-friendly sugar. So doctors recommend this to diabetics. And it's very low in calories as well. Love brown rice flour. Yes. What else? Are protein shakes beneficial? Yeah, I love protein shakes. I particularly find vegan-based protein powders better. And again, don't worry, I'm definitely going to go over this next week. I'm going to talk extensively about protein powders. I like rice-based protein powders because they're just much easier on the digestive tract. They're much easier to break down and absorb. I find when people have digestive issues, they can't tolerate whey protein so much, and they get gas and they get wind and they feel a bit, they get the dairy symptoms that, one gets. So rice-based protein powders are better. They're much more hypoallergenic, which means that they are easier to break down and absorb. Right, so we've got 2 minutes. I want you guys to share with me what one thing you have learned, please. Yes, hemp powder protein, exactly, perfect. Just make sure it hasn't, it won't have any crap in it, like anything that you can't pronounce. Good, please write down in your chat box, guys, what one thing you're going to do, what one thing you're going to change. I really want to know. What one thing are you going to change? My diet. What are you going to do? You're going to cut out gluten? Probiotics. Yes, you learned about probiotics. Green tea, hot coffee, yeah. Oregano, perfect. Garlic, less alcohol. No gluten, elimination, yeah. Cut out wheat and dairy, perfect. So much of you already said pure garlic, no gluten this week. Okay, low stomach acid, yep. The stomach acid test. Start using oregano, cut out gluten. Amazing. All right, guys, over and out, I think. Thank you so much for joining me. Head over to Instagram if you want to come and say hello. I will be sharing with you the slides. I will be sharing with you the recording. Sorry if I've been sending you loads of emails. I've just about figured it out. And don't forget to make a donation, please. We're nearly there. We're halfway there. Love chatting to you. Next week, I want to share